Hi everyone, I wanted to share the story with you that I heard from Chris Smith. And I actually told this story last week at a school event. Well, it was actually their theme was the environment and save the world. And it was all part of their book week. And I went in and I shared a whole lot of stories. And this was one of those many stories that I told on that day. And I actually told this story on Tuesday night at the What's Your Story event that we held at Fidelio Cafe in London. The version that I heard from Chris Smith resonated with me so much, and I'm sure it's going to resonate with you as well. And I hope you enjoy it. The story is called Snip, Snip. There was once a little boy, his name was Jack. And Jack loved his mum and dad, but boy did he love his granddad. And on Jack's 6th birthday, his granddad gave him a birthday present. And it was wrapped in paper and tied with string, and Jack carefully undid the string and opened the paper. And there inside was a beautiful blue coat. And Jack put it on and he fastened the gold buttons and stood in front of the mirror and he just, "Wow, Granddad, this coat's amazing. Thank you so much." And he gave his granddad a big hug and he quickly rushed out the front door, leaving the front door wide open. And all his friends gathered around him and they went, Jack, wow, where'd you get that coat?" And he said, "From my granddad. My granddad's a tailor. My granddad made the coat." "Wow," they all said. "It's a fantastic coat." "I know," he said. And Jack loved that coat so much he wore it to school, he wore it when he played with his friends in the park. At night time he put it over his pyjamas and he slept in that coat. Now Jack grew, and as he grew he got bigger, but the coat did not. And the coat started to fray and it started to tear on the sides. And it started to become quite smelly because Jack did not want to wash the coat. Until one day Jack's mum came to him and said, "Jack, we've got to do something about that coat. I really think you need a new coat. Look, it's frayed, it's torn, it's really smelly." And Jack said, No, Mum, no, Granddad made me this coat. I don't want to get rid of it." "I know what I'll do. He said. "I'm going to go and see Granddad." So off he went to Granddad's shop. And as he opened the door, the little bells went ting-a-ling-a-ling. You know those bells in shops that let the shopkeeper know that somebody's come into their store? And Granddad was sitting at his sewing and cutting table, and he turned and he saw Jack and he said, "Hello, Jack. What's wrong, Jack? Why you got a sad face?" And, "Granddad," said Jack, Mom wants me to get rid of this coat that you made me, and I love this coat. I don't want to get rid of it." "Give it to me," said Granddad. And Granddad took the coat and he laid it out on his cutting table. And he took out some scissors and he took out some needle and some thread and he started to cut and he started to sew. And as he cut and as he sewed, he sang. And this is the song he sang. "Snip, snip, snip, this is what I do. Snipping here, snipping there, making something new. In and out and in. This is how I sew, sewing all together, that's what I know." Granddad handed Jack what he had just made. And Jack held it out and went, "Granddad, you made me a jacket! Wow!" And he put the jacket on and he fastened the buttons, the same gold buttons that were on the coat. And he stood in front of the mirror and he went, "Granddad, this looks fabulous. My friends are gonna love this jacket." And he ran out the shop and the bells went ting-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling. And all of Jack's friends gathered around and went, Jack, where'd you get that jacket?" And he said, "From my granddad. My granddad's a tailor." Jack loved that jacket. He wore it everywhere. He wore it to school. He wore it playing football with his mates in the park. And at bedtime, at night time, he put it on over his pyjamas and went to sleep. And Jack continued to grow and he continued to get bigger, but the jacket did not. And the jacket started to fray and it started to stretch and it started to tear on the sides. And it also got very smelly. because Jack did not want to wash the jacket. Till one day, Jack's mum came to him and said, "Jack, we got to do something about that jacket. Look, it's frayed, it's torn, it's really smelly. I think we should get you a new jacket." And Jack said, No, Granddad made me this jacket. I don't want to get rid of it. "I know what I'll do," said Jack. "I'm going to go see Granddad." So off he went. He went back to Granddad's shop. He opened the door and the bells went ding-a-ling-a-ling. And he walked in. His Granddad turned and said, "Hello, Jack. Jack, why you got a sad face? What's wrong?" He said, "Well, Granddad, my mom wants me to get rid of the jacket you made for me, but I love this jacket. You made it for me. I don't want to get rid of it." Jack's Granddad said, "Give it to me." And Jack's Granddad laid it out on his cutting table. And he took out his scissors and he took out his needle and his thread and he started to cut and he started to sew. And as he cut and as he sewed, he sang a song. Snip, snip, snip. This is what I do. Snipping here, snipping there, making something new. In and out and in. This is how I sew. Sewing all together. That's what I know. And he handed Jack what he had made. And he had made a t-shirt from the jacket. And Jack took this t-shirt and held it up and went, "Granddad, this t-shirt's amazing. Thank you so much." And he put it on and he stood in front of the mirror. "My friends are going to love this, Granddad." He gave his Granddad a big hug and he ran out the shop. And his friends gathered around him. Jack, where'd you get that t-shirt?" And he said, "From my Granddad. My Granddad's a tailor. He made it for me." "Wow," they all said. "That's a fabulous t-shirt." "I know," he said. And Jack loved that t-shirt. He went everywhere in that t-shirt. He went to school. He went to play with football in the park with his friends. He even went out with his friends in that t-shirt. And at night time, he actually wore it to sleep in. And Jack still continued to grow and he got bigger and the t-shirt did not, and it started to fray and it started to stretch and it started to tear. And it also got very smelly because Jack didn't want to wash that t-shirt. And Jack's mum said, "Jack, we've got to do something about this t-shirt. Look, it's frayed, it's torn, it's really smelly. Let's go get you a new t-shirt." Jack went, No, Granddad made me this t-shirt. I know what I'll do. I'll go and ask Granddad." So Jack went, of course, to Granddad's shop and opened the doors and the bells went ding-a-ling-a-ling. He walked in and Granddad turned to Jack and said, "Hello, Jack." "What's wrong, Jack?" "Granddad, that t-shirt that you made me, Mum wants to get rid of it and she wants me to get a new shirt and I don't want to. I really like this t-shirt." And Granddad said, "Give it to me." And Granddad laid the t-shirt out on the cutting table. And he took out his scissors and he took out his needle and his thread and he started to cut and he started to sew. And as he cut and as he sewed, he started to sing. Snip, snip, snip. This is what I do. Snipping here, snipping there, making something new. In and out and in, this is how I sew, sewing all together, that's what I know. And he handed Jack a badge. He had made a badge from the t-shirt, and Jack took the badge and said, "Granddad, thank you so much." And he used a pin and he attached it to the shirt that he was wearing. And he said, "My friends are going to love this." And he went outside and all his friends gathered around him and said, Jack, where'd you get that badge? I've never seen a badge like that before." And he said, "From my Granddad. My Granddad is a tailor. He made it." "Wow," they all said, that's a great badge." "I know." And Jack wore that badge everywhere, and as he got older, the badge didn't fasten to his clothes anymore, but he put it on his bag. And when he went to university, that badge went with him. And then one day, Jack was looking for his badge and he couldn't find it. He'd lost the badge. Where'd he put it? He searched his room. He searched the university lecture rooms. He even went out to the places that he went out with his friends to see if anyone had found the badge, but he couldn't find it. And Jack got sad. And when he did come home to visit the family, his mom said to him, "Jack, what's wrong?" And he said, "Well, Mom, I've lost the badge." "Well, why don't you go and see Granddad? Maybe he can help you. Maybe he can make another one." "That's a good idea," said Jack. And off he went. Now, Granddad was quite old now, and he wasn't working in the shop anymore. He was too old to work. But Jack went to go and visit Granddad. And he said to Granddad, "Granddad, I'm really sorry, but I lost the badge." His Granddad just smiled at him and said, Jack, my boy, you should know that we're going to lose things all the time in our life. And we certainly don't live forever. Nothing lasts forever. Certainly people don't, you know that. But you know what? Why don't you make a story? Make a story about the coat and the jacket and the t-shirt and the badge. And when you tell that story, it will be as if it's new. Because it'll be inside your head and you will see it as though you'd never lost it. Just keep that story and keep telling it. It'll always be alive. "Wow," said Jack. "Thank you, Granddad. That's amazing." And he gave his Granddad a big hug. And he said goodbye. And Jack went back to university and he told that story. He told the story about the coat, the jacket and the t-shirt and the badge. And his friends loved that story. And Jack forgot about that story and he stopped telling the story. You know, things were happening in his life, exciting things, and he was going on exciting journeys, adventures, experiencing new things. Until one day, one very sad day, and I'm sure you know exactly what happened. But he got a phone call from his mum to say that his Granddad had passed away. His Granddad had died. He had fallen asleep and didn't wake up. Jack was sad, but he smiled, and he smiled and he cried and he cried and he smiled and he laughed. Because he thought of the story. He remembered the story. And at Granddad's funeral, Jack told that story. He told the story about the coat and the jacket and the t-shirt and the badge, and how his Granddad had said to him, "Make a story and keep telling that story." And everyone that was at the funeral heard that story, and they loved the story so much that they told it to all their friends, and their friends told their friends. And one of those friends told it to Chris Smith. And I heard the story from Chris Smith, and I'm sharing this story with you today. Nothing lives forever. But as long as we keep telling the story, it will be alive forever and ever. And that is the story of Snip Snip. And thank you again, Chris Smith, for sharing that story so that I can share it with all of you wonderful people. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.